What's going on, people in YouTube land? KimchiChris here, and welcome to today's brand new video where we are going to discuss a topic that's being discussed all over the internet, all over real life, and definitely at your local record store. That's right, we are going to talk about the reunion tour, because we are in a reunion tour revolution right now. The grandiose reunion tour that comes back because the fans wanted us back, and also because we wanted to take another good trip to the bank. And basically for this discussion, we are going to concentrate on count them, three bands that are really different in many ways, but all fall under the rock category. And the bands we're going to be talking about for this will be Motley Crue, Rage Against the Machine, and My Chemical Romance. Now, regardless of your opinion of the music of any of these bands or their reunions themselves or reasons for reuniting, these are three bands that are going to be some of the, I don't know, biggest bands to be doing the reunion tour for 2020 and beyond. And there might be some more bands that, you know, end up making the announcement, but for right now we're going to concentrate on these three bands because they're all very different and they have different fan bases, and there are similar reasons for all of these bands reuniting. Even though they have very different fan bases, they all want to make that money and they all want to do it for the fans. But let's talk about the reasons some of these bands should or maybe even shouldn't be reuniting here. So first up, let's talk about the band that will arguably have the biggest draw, arguably has had the biggest career, and definitely has had a lot of controversy about their comeback, and that would be Motley Crue. So we all know Motley Crue. They were the kings of 80s sleaze, and a couple years back they decided to call it quits. They did a big farewell tour, they signed a contract saying that they would never play together, and here we are with Motley Crue back together. And of course their reason for doing this is that it's for the fans, it's for the new generation, the ones that saw the dirt and became huge Crue heads. And I, for one, don't know that I necessarily agree with the new fan base side of things, because these, you know, possibly 18, 20, 25-year-olds, things of that nature that saw the dirt and put Kickstart My Heart, Shout at the Devil, and a few other key tracks on their Spotify playlist are probably not going to go pay the big bucks to see Motley Crue. I could be completely wrong. Casuals do run the music business at this point as far as touring goes for these classic acts, but I don't really see that happening. It's going to be the people that saw you the last time and saw you the time before that, and, you know, they're going to see you no matter what. That's who's going to go see Motley Crue, not these new fans that they keep talking about in their press clippings. And even past the whole contract and saying they're never going to tour again thing, this one has so much controversy because of the members themselves. You know, there's pretty much something negative to say about every member if you really want to delve in that direction. I'm not going to really worry about it here. The internet is, you know, run rampant right now with those videos and memes and things of that nature, but this one has a lot of controversy because of the contract, because of them having such a big farewell presence, and because of the things with the members being able to play or physically pull it off. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this one goes. Now, at the end of the day, I think this one will be successful. I think this one will be hugely successful because, of course, the big rumor, if you even want to call it that at this point, because we haven't got an official announcement on the website, but it's going to be a stadium track with Def Leppard and Poison in tow, and there's no way this won't be successful. Even if they don't fill up every stadium, they'll do good on ticket sales, they'll do even better on meet and greets and VIP packages, and they'll do amazing numbers on merchandise. So this tour is going to do really, really well, regardless of your opinion on it, and regardless of my opinion on it. But with that being said, let's move on to the next band that we are going to dissect here a little bit. And that band would be Rage Against the Machine. So while Motley Crue were the huge 80s band that's getting back together, you know, for the big reunion tour in 2020, the big 90s band is going to be Rage Against the Machine. You know, they were one of the bands that was looked at as actually being a good rap rock band because, you know, basically they didn't sound like Limp Bizkit. But they really were a good band. I mean, Tom Morello has really stayed active in the media as a rock and roll connoisseur and one of those guys that you always go to whenever a rock musician is talked to or talked about in the media. And of course the other guys have kept a lower profile, and because they haven't been doing a ton of these different things over the years, they did one reunion a number of years back, but it wasn't even that many dates. This is a really big deal, and with our political climate in particular, this seems like a key time for them to come back. That was of course what Tom said was the reasoning for Prophets of Rage, the kind of like Rage Against the Machine tribute band that featured Rage Against the Machine and Public Enemy and Cypress Hill members a couple years back. But I think having the real deal is what we really want, and that's what everybody wants. They want to see Rage Against the Machine, and honestly, I hope they do a big tour because this is a band that's been hard to reach for quite a while. I don't know if they'll be doing one as extensive as some of these other bands, but I do hope that they do. And you know, again, just like Motley Crue, they can say it's because of the political climate or that they felt like playing, but these guys are going to make some bank because every 90s guy that was into that rap rock stuff is going to be excited because this was one of the few bands that, you know, even people that don't like that style of music generally like this band. They're kind of just looked at as a rock band or a metal band, and you know, their music is still played all the time on rock radio, I would assume. I don't really know, but I know back in the day whenever they used to play it at an old job I had, you heard Rage Against the Machine, you know, at least once an hour, mixed in with all the current hit makers and modern rock advocates there. So it's really great that Rage Against the Machine will be back together, and I would really like to see these guys try to work on some new music. I think they still have it in them. Tom still has the riffs, and Zach could definitely do some cool stuff with his political commentary as well as just his vocal delivery. So I think it would be a really good thing if we get something new out of them, and I think they're likely to maybe put some new music out of this. I don't know. Well, I guess we'll see, but similar to Motley Crue, this is going to make gangbusters on money. It's not going to be a failure no matter what happens. You know, regardless of them being such an artistic band and things of that nature, they're going to sell tons of merchandise. They're going to sell tons of tickets. I don't know if I'll see them doing the meet and greets. I don't know. They don't seem like a band that would do that. They'll have some kind of VIP experience, I'm sure, where you get like a poster or some kind of item or something of relevance. So there you go. For your 1990s band that's coming back, you got Rage Against the Machine. And third here, and last on the list, the one that probably most of you, my viewers, don't really care about, and I could be judging you wrong, but you know, just let me know. But still falls in this category of huge rock reunion, and that would be My Chemical Romance. Now these guys follow right in line, and they were big in the early 2000s with the emo and screamo crowd, even though they had some leanings towards Queen and some of those more arena rock bands, and that's probably why they landed in the arenas as opposed to a lot of their bands that were on the same level of them at one point. You see Taking Back Sunday, Coheed and Cambria, all these kind of bands, you know, topping out at 2,000-3,000 seaters these days because they're still around and touring, but My Chemical Romance could easily do an arena tour in a second, and probably will, because they went away when the timing was right. Their star was falling a little bit, and they realized it was good time to get out of the picture and then come back a couple years later because we all knew they were going to. And similar to the last three tours, this one's gonna do amazingly well. The tickets are gonna sell well, the merchandise is gonna sell well, and then these guys might do meet and greets and things of that nature. They're gonna sell well. Everyone that's into this band, I would say, is somewhere between the 28 to 38 age demographic now, and a lot of them have decent jobs with disposable income, and maybe they weren't able to see them in their youth, or maybe they only saw them once. So this tour, I think out of all these, probably has the best timing. I mean, these guys are gonna rake in the money on this one for sure. And this one, as opposed to the Motley Crue tour having all the controversy and even some Rage fans saying it's kind of a sellout move to get back together, everyone seems excited about this one that's into the band. If you're into My Chemical Romance, you were pumped. You were pumped the second they announced this back right around Halloween. Or was it on Halloween? I don't know. It was right around Halloween. It was that time of year. And everyone seemed excited about that. I was at a convention while the announcement was made, and so many people were just pumped. They were pumped. They wanted the My Chemical Romance in their life. Personally, I could care less if these guys do new music or not, but I could see them doing it, and it'll be hugely successful as well, of course. With all that being said, these bands are all drastically different musically and fan base wise. And as a result, none of them are really going to intrude too much on the other's fan base, even if they're all touring simultaneously, hitting almost the same cities at almost the same time. And the reason for this is that we are at an all-time nostalgia high in America and basically worldwide. Think about it. Look at everything else even outside of music. When you look at the movie industry, reboots and remakes are huge. They're big business. People are running out of original ideas. It happens. Look at video games. Same thing. They're remaking a bunch of old games. They're putting out collections. They're putting out those mini consoles. It's the exact same thing. In music, you know, they don't really do album re-releases as much anymore because you don't make money off of albums, but you can do the reunion and you can make some money that way. And despite these bands having drastically different fan bases, I would venture a guess that a lot of these tours will be attended by the same people because Dad wanted to see Motley Crue, the oldest son wanted to see Rage Against the Machine, and the youngest daughter wanted to see My Chemical Romance, and they decided to make a family adventure and see all the rock and roll bands in the world. I mean, how funny would it be if one of these big rock fests like Louder Than Life or something like that booked all these bands to headline each of their 3 nights of the festival? They could just call it Reunion Fest and have all of the great reunions of the world going on at the same time. But with that being said, it puts us in a very interesting spot having all of these reunions, and of course there's a ton of farewell tours going on right now between Slayer and Kiss and all kinds of bands. It just rears its head every couple of years, and it really makes you wonder what current bands will be the ones that reunite to big numbers down the line. You know, will we see Ghost or the Struts or something like that having big reunion tours, you know, 15 years from now after they inevitably break up 10 years from now? Only time will tell, only time will tell, but it's very interesting because always when these bands come back, they play bigger venues and make more money and do more in sales, but with all that being said, I really do think the biggest reason we're seeing all this is nostalgia from the fans, money for the bands. That could be on a shirt. Nostalgia for the fans, money for the bands. Put that on the back of that Reunion Fest shirt there. That's gonna sell millions right there. But with all that being said, who would you like to see reunite? That's what I want to know in the comments below. I want to know what you think about these reunion tours. Are you gonna go to some of them? Do you think they're awful? Do you think they're awesome? Let me know, but who do you want to see reunite? Let me know in the comments down below. And if you are new around here, make sure to hit that subscription button and hit the alarm so you get the updates. Give this thing a thumbs up as well. And again, my name is KimchiChris. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I will see you guys on the next video.